Hello students, welcome to the channel. In earlier videos, we solved passage 1 and passage 2 of the October 2020 PSAT writing section. Today in this video, we'll do passages 3 and 4 of the writing section. So let's begin. Passage 3, Hybrid Careers in Technology. An increasingly important development in the workspace is the rise of hybrid careers that combine training in one discipline such as marketing or physics, with expertise in information technology fields, such as computer science and information systems. So I think here we are defining hybrid careers, right? So it would make sense to put a colon after careers, because I'm saying that an important development is the rise of hybrid careers that combine training in one discipline. So I think D would be the best answer for this one. I can't go with option A, because if I say careers that combine training in one discipline, etc., that second part is not an independent clause. It's not a complete sentence. So a semicolon won't work there. For the same reason, a full stop won't work there. So option B is out. And option C is grammatically, is it grammatically correct? No. Because it says those careers that combine, so that's not correct. But even if it were grammatically correct, if I said those careers combine training in one discipline, even then I would prefer option D over C, because D just conveys that sense of defining hybrid careers better. So D is the answer. Okay, more than ever, technology skills function as a supplement to knowledge from another field. In fact, attaining expertise in a traditional career path often requires familiarity with computer science to take advantage of cutting-edge developments. Students preparing to enter the job market should therefore consider how developing hybrid skills can give them access to a range of rewarding careers, right? So here I need to choose a connector, and I have established the importance of hybrid skills in the paragraph. And so this last line should come as a conclusion, right? And so the best answer is therefore. Nevertheless is indicative of something that is a compromise, something that is set up as a contrast. So that doesn't make sense here. Instead is also about an alternative. So that doesn't make sense here. And even also doesn't make sense here. So here, the best answer is just therefore. Okay, animator Kyra Letomaki's career illustrates the value of studying technology in combination with a more conventional profession. Letomaki was inspired to become an animator. The inspiration happened when she was a child and watched animated films like Sleeping Beauty. And I have to combine the sentences. So I mean, just to give it a shot without looking at the options, I think a good answer would be Letomaki was inspired to become an animator when she watched animated films like Sleeping Beauty as a child. So she was inspired as a child to become an animator who was watching. That doesn't make sense. So D is out. Then Letomaki was inspired by Sleeping Beauty, the watching of which, that just sounds strained. So C is out. Letomaki was inspired when she was a child watching animated. So B also sounds a little overwrought. Option A, Letomaki was inspired to become an animator by watching animated films like Sleeping Beauty as a child or when she was a child. So A is the most concise answer, grammatically correct, doesn't leave out any information. So A is right. In college, she recognized that computers were becoming dominant in the world of animation. So she majored in computer science rather than art, pursuing her artistic interest through an online school on animation mentor. So I would have to say so she. So I'll explain why. Because see, if let's say I go with option A, no change, that wouldn't be correct because we have two independent sentences here. So I can't put a comma between them unless I put a fanboys as well, right? And so is a fanboy. So she makes sense, right? Okay, I can't say therefore she after a comma because therefore starts a new sentence. So for therefore, I would have to put a semicolon after animation, right? So C doesn't work. And I can't delete the underlined portion because that just wouldn't convey what we are trying to say and it would not be correct. So the answer is B. Oletomaki regards the technological skills she learned in college as vital to her professional success. Computer science taught me how to think about things, how to break down and solve complex problems, she says. She now applies those analytical skills in her job um, and using modeling and graphics software to help create films for a major film studio. She now applies those analytical skills in her job, comma, using modeling and graphic software to help create films for a major studio. So D. Now, if I had to say and, I would say she now applies the analytical skills in her job and uses modeling, right? So A is not right because it says using, not uses. B is not correct because the part after the semicolon is not an independent clause. It's not a complete sentence, so I can't use a semicolon there. And I can't have a comma, right, with uses because that would not be correct. I would have to, because uses modeling would need to have some sort of conjunction there. A comma alone wouldn't work, right? So D is the best answer. Okay, as evidenced by this skill set, Letomaki has come a long way from the summer job she once had at Disneyland decorating cookies. Which choice most effectively concludes the paragraph? Now, obviously, the way it's written, it doesn't sound very good because first of all, this introduction of the summer job is, it doesn't just it just seems not a very good fit for the paragraph, right? Because you want to kind of conclude how her comfort with computer skills has helped her career as an animator. So let's look at other options. However, by focusing on skills such as how to use spreadsheets and word processors, so B definitely doesn't make sense. Letomaki's trajectory shows how multidisciplinary training can allow workers to construct career paths that suit their interests and passions. So that's what we call a good conclusion, because we are kind of concluding that her trajectory shows that interdisciplinary pathways to career progression are possible. And D, computational thinking is the skill most closely associated. So again, D is not relevant. So basically, I'm down to A and C, right? That's what will mostly happen in questions, that you will be stuck on two options. And see, C is a better conclusion to how her career has progressed using computer technology, while A is kind of vague and refers to something in her past that doesn't make sense. So C is the best answer. Okay, a study of job growth in the IT sector in the US shows that Letomaki is far from unique in making the most of such a combination to improve her career prospects, right? She is far from unique to improve her career prospects. So C. For example, there were 45,991 digital marketing and marketing automation jobs positions that merge statistical and IT roles with traditional marketing skills, advertised from April 2014 to March 2015. Okay. Marketing and marketing automation jobs, positions that merge statistical and IT roles with traditional marketing skills. Okay, right. So then I need to define what marketing automation jobs are, and that is done in option B, right? I'm putting a parenthesis around the definition, positions that merge statistical and IT roles with traditional marketing skills, right? So B is the best answer. The problem with option A is that there is no break between the automation jobs and the definition, so A is not correct. The problem with C is that if I have to describe them with a pair of commas, I should also have a comma after jobs, which is not there. And similarly with D, if I have to define it with a pair of dashes, I should have a dash after skills, which is not there. So the best answer is B. Okay, the field experienced 135% job growth from 2011 to 2015. Okay, which choice provides accurate information? So we are looking at percentage increase in jobs. And which field are we looking at? Marketing and marketing automation, right? So yeah, so that's digital marketing. So that's 145% from the table, right? So it's B. Data analyst professionals who are wizards at both statistics and the software used to organize sets of data were almost as in demand. Okay, so first let's look at 32. Data analyst professionals proficient in both statistics. Yeah, so who are wizards at is informal, so A is out. Who have what it takes, informal. Possessed of high caliber skills is too long, not concise enough, so D is the best answer. Concise. Okay, so professionals proficient in both statistics and the software used to organize sets of data were almost as in demand with 41,000 open positions from April 2014. Okay, so 41,000 open positions. So twice the number of job openings? Twice the number of job openings. Okay, we are comparing it to marketing and automation, so that's not true. Didn't see as many jobs added as product managers did, but then that's not true, and also it's not relevant because I can't just were hired less often than right. So even though I don't like the way it's written, I think option A is the best answer because I'm trying to say that data analysis was almost as in demand as the automation. Because if you look at the numbers, data analytics is somewhat less than automation. And the previous data was about automation. So I would, yeah. So I would say job openings, right? So it would have to be were almost as in demand. So A, right? Okay, so that was right. So let's just go to the next one. Passage 4. I'm just like my country, Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton. Composer and lyricist Lin-Manuel Miranda was inspired to create the award-winning Broadway musical Hamilton after, on a whim, he picked up a best-selling biography of US founding father Alexander Hamilton while looking through top-selling books, including biographies at a bookstore. So it's just at a bookstore is best. I'll explain why. So while looking through top-selling books, including biographies, right, that because I'm already saying that he was at a bookstore, right? Yeah, he picked up the best-selling biography. So I don't have to describe all of the fact that he was going through books because that's understood, right? He picked it up at a bookstore. Now, B, at a bookstore that sells popular books, that's not relevant, right? I mean, we're not really talking about bookstores that sell popular or unpopular books. And C is wrong because the impulse hit him is already captured in with the phrase on a whim. So if something is on a whim, it's impulsive. So D is the best answer. I was just browsing the biography section. It could have been former President Truman that I selected. The biography he read documents Hamilton's most well-known roles, right? Because a biography is a text, so it will document, right? Not enclose, not support, not demonstrate, right? It's a text, so it documents Hamilton's most well-known roles. Military captain during the Revolutionary War, co-writer of the Federalist Papers, the nation's first secretary of the Treasury and creator of the federal banking system. So here, the colon is the best option because I'm going to describe the roles that he took on, right? So if I'm saying the biography documents those roles, then the colon creates the expectation of what those roles were, and that's exactly what the sentence does. So A is the best answer for that. What fascinated Miranda, however, was Hamilton's life story as an American immigrant and as an ambitious youth navigating a contentious political environment. To study the lesser known aspects of Hamilton's life, Miranda drew on inspiration from his family's experiences and his own career choices. Which choice provides the best transition? So, the previous paragraph was talking about all of these great things that Hamilton did, but it ends with saying that Miranda was fascinated by Hamilton's life story as an immigrant and as an ambitious youth. And this line says Miranda drew on inspiration from his family's experiences and his own career choices. He saw parallels between Hamilton's early life and his own father. So we'll have to look at that. So to learn more about Hamilton's accomplishments as a founding father, to highlight Hamilton's prolific writing career, and to turn Hamilton's life and legacy into a musical. Okay, so so he's drawing inspiration from his family's experience, and as a teenager himself, as an immigrant himself, right? So it's not about accomplishments as a founding father. So B is out. It's not about his writing career. So C is out. And he's not going to study the lesser known aspects by drawing on his family's experiences. So A is out. And so it's about what he did to turn that document that he found into this musical that he created. He drew on inspiration, right? So D is the best answer. He drew on inspiration to turn Hamilton's life and legacy into a musical. He drew on inspiration from his family's experiences and his own career choices. He saw parallels between Hamilton's early life and that of his father, because I'm comparing Hamilton's life with father's life. I can't compare life with father, right? So I will say he drew parallels between Hamilton's early life and that of his father, option B, right? Who migrated to New York from Puerto Rico as a teenager and went on to establish a successful political consulting company. Hamilton, who was raised on the Caribbean island of St. Croix, also moved to New York as a teenager. Remarkably hardworking and enterprising, Hamilton became a protege of George Washington within 5 years of his arrival in New York. At this point, the writer is considering adding the sentence, to get a better sense of Hamilton's life, Miranda read the founding fathers' letters and other writings and consulted with historians. So, is this the proper place for this? I know that he must have done all this work. Miranda must have done all of the reading that he could. But here at this point, I'm talking about Hamilton being raised in the Caribbean and moving to New York, and then talking about how he became a protege of Washington. So this doesn't make sense here. It should come earlier somewhere, like in the first paragraph, where we are describing how Miranda developed his musical. So I'm going with no. Now, between C and D, it interrupts the paragraph's description of Hamilton's experience as an immigrant. That sounds like a good answer. D, no, because it fails to specify the historians with whom. That's not the point. It's not about the historians not being mentioned, but it's about breaking the flow of the paragraph. So I'm going with C. Remarkably hardworking and enterprising, Hamilton became a protege of George Washington within 5 years of his arrival in New York. So here I have a comma in the way it's written, option A, no change. I have a comma after protege and after Washington, which makes it sound that this is additional information of George Washington, which means I can take it out. But that's not correct because I can't. I can't say Hamilton became a protege within 5 years. Protege of whom? So I need to remove the commas because of George Washington is important, essential information. So the answer would be option C. I would not need a comma just after protege. That single comma doesn't make any sense because there's no break in the sentence at this point. And I don't need a colon after Washington because, again, I'm not setting up expectation of anything. I'm just describing a timeline. So C is the best answer. In the musical, Miranda presents Hamilton's qualities as quintessentially American. Hamilton declares, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. So the quotation actually sets him up as quintessentially American, right? I'm just like my country. So I already like the way it's written. In the musical, the American Revolution is underway. That doesn't fit the quotation. So B is wrong. In the musical, many of the highlights of Hamilton's political career are dramatized. That's not right. In the musical, most of the dialogue is sung instead of spoken. Okay, that's also not correct because the quotation indicates how Hamilton saw himself as truly essentially American. So A is the best answer. Okay. Miranda also drew from his experiences working for his father, a former advisor to New York City Mayor Ed Koch. Miranda's own involvement in politics gave him a unique vantage point from which to observe the inner workings of governmental legislation. The real stuff happens in the back room, he explained. I've seen it firsthand. He finished reading Hamilton's biography. Miranda discovered that the founding fathers similarly used informal private gatherings to influence Washington's administration. Okay. Upon reading Hamilton's biography, right? Because he discovered those backroom shenanigans and backroom talks and backroom discussions when he read Hamilton's biography. So C is the best answer. Option B is not correct because there's a semicolon after biography, and I can't have a semicolon unless both sides of the semicolon are independent sentences. Option A is not correct because it has a comma for two independent sentences, and that's not right. And option D again is not correct because a dash is not used like this. So it is the best answer would be C. Okay. In the musical, Hamilton's adversary, Aaron Burr, jealously remarks on Hamilton's ability to shape policy measures by getting into the room where it happens. Hamilton supports this claim when he tells Burr that decisions are happening over dinner, a remark that could also be used to describe 21st century political life. So Hamilton supports this claim when he tells Burr that. So option D, right? It's just a straight sentence. And the independent clause is followed by the dependent clause, right? Hamilton supports this claim is independent. When he tells Burr is that part is dependent, so you don't need to put a comma between them when the independent clause comes first. Option A and C are wrong because they use semicolon and full stops. And option B is grammatically wrong, right? Okay, success on Broadway, Hamilton won the Grammy Award for Best Musical Theatre Album. Miranda's emphasis on Hamilton's youthful industriousness and the intricacies of political decision making shows audiences that the environment of the founding of America resonates with the politics of today. Okay, so this is the final concluding paragraph. And together with the previous paragraph, I think the passage is ending on a note that even though Hamilton was a founding father and he worked 150, 200 years ago, his work and his policy measures and his working environment resonates with the political environment today. So option A doesn't make sense, right? Because that talks about the Grammy Award that Hamilton won, so that's not relevant here. A gifted cast brought Hamilton's life to the stage. Again, that's not relevant here. Even with its contemporary style, Hamilton is timeless. Now that makes sense because even though it is situated in that time, in the time when Hamilton lived, the play, the musical is timeless because it still resonates with us, right? So I like C. D, the political environment has changed dramatically since Hamilton's day. So D is kind of contrasting what the paragraph is saying. So D can't be correct. So I'll go with C. Okay, so that was passages 3 and 4. Let's grade them now. So I'll have to start with 23. Okay, 23. D, D, A, B, D, 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 A, B, D. Where was I? D, D, A, B, yeah, 28. C, C, B, B, D, C, C, B, B, D, 33. A, D, C, A, D, A, D, C, A, D, 38. B, C, C, A, C, A, C, B, C, C, A, C, and then D, C. Okay, so we got all correct in the last two passages. And in fact, we got all correct in the entire set. So I'll put a link in the description box for the first two passages of this set. So make sure that you do this set, look at the questions and pause the video and try them yourself. And once you have an answer, check back if you got it right. Hope this was useful. Hit like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what other videos you'd like me to upload. I'll see you all in a new video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.